Do you want to grow on Twitter? Do you want 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 followers? Well, it's completely possible. I grew over 60,000 followers organically in just over 1 year, and you can too. It is possible for anyone to do it, but you need to put in the work. If you're here for the hacks or any cheats to get 100,000 followers overnight, then you're in the wrong place. But if you want to do it organically, well, you've come to the right place. Right now, Twitter is currently helping creators grow. I've seen so many people, including myself, grow massively over the last 12 months. And did I mention you can too? In this video, we will cover how to customize your profile and what you should do to it. How can you stand out? The frequency of your tweets. What types of tweets can you post? Engaging on other people's tweets, dealing with trolls, tools that you can use to help you succeed even faster, Twitter Spaces, getting paid for tweets, and a few extra bonus ones. Before we get started, I did a similar video on this, and over 85% of you are not subscribed. So before we continue, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe below. It's completely free and really helps support my channel so I can create more free content for you. Do you not want more free content? Bonus points for people who comment below. Right, back to helping you grow on Twitter. Behind me, you can see my Twitter profile. I want to use that as an example and a few others as well, so you might get featured, so stay tuned. Mine can be improved. All of ours can be improved. We actually just had a live stream with 7 amazing creators who are doing amazingly well on Twitter. And they also gave loads of tips and feedback to community members, but also myself. So I have some improvements to make my Twitter profile after I record this video. But your profile is so important. This is where most people go wrong, and it's a pretty easy fix. So for example, for me, my banner might look okay, but the pictures I might look a bit scary because I'm screaming. Yes, that's my brand. That's something I always do. But people who don't know me, their first impression, why should they subscribe to my channel? Yes, I talk about open source, web development, freelancing, and digital nomad, but the pictures aren't very welcoming. And actually, the banner isn't on brand with my YouTube thumbnails. So I need to do a lot of work on that. But it's important for you to share what your value proposition is. Basically, why should people follow you? What content will they receive? And like I said, if you can make it on brand, that's really important. What does your profile picture, banner, and bio all say about you? They need to tell a story. What are you about? What can you offer? Your profile picture needs to look authentic and professional while still looking fun. This is not a LinkedIn photo. That's why I'm going to change my photo very soon. So by the time this video comes out, my profile might look slightly different. So I'll be making improvements, a bit like your GitHub profile. Your banner is so powerful. It's what people first see when they come to your profile. Share the topics you're going to cover in big text, but don't add too much text, right? It's finding that sweet spot, that balance. Get feedback on it. And you see people doing dynamic banners now, which looks pretty good as well. So that might be something I might look into and do a video on it in the future. Make sure your bio complements your banner. It doesn't have to duplicate the information. I don't need my name in the banner, and you don't need your name in the banner because we've got it under a profile picture. But make sure it complements it. You don't want your banner to say one thing and then your bio to say something completely different. It needs to be on the same niche. Let's make something completely clear. You're not going to get this right first time. That's why you need to do it. You're not going to get it right second or 10th time, or probably ever. You're always going to be tweaking it and improving it. That's why it's really important for you to put something out there and ask for feedback. Your profile should be a living document. It is important to give a clear message of what you're about. It's really hard to build a presence when giving mixed signals. If you're into web dev, for example, you're more likely to follow someone who does JavaScript and React than someone who does JavaScript and knitting. There's nothing wrong with knitting, but it's mixed signals and mixed messages, and you want content on that 1 or 2 topics. There could be subtopics. So like I said, for me, I do a few topics, but they're all in the same kind of niche. And a lot of people in tech want to see those topics. I mentioned a couple of times, have a clear message. You need to have a clear message on your profile. There will be other points I want to highlight in other areas in this video. And don't forget, you're able to pin a tweet to the top of your profile. You can see this underneath my profile, right at the top. You're able to pin that. Make use of that pinned tweet. Some people like to pin tweets that have the most likes because it looks great on their profile. But does that tweet tell a story about why people should follow you? Others like to pin a tweet that they would like more engagement on if they want more likes. Maybe because they've put so much effort into that tweet, they really want to get more comments and likes on it. See what works for you. My suggestion here is try different things and don't have the same pinned tweet for like 2 years. I think you want to mix it up, right? Yes, you've got new people coming to your profile, but you've also got people revisiting your profile who have seen it before and want to see what's happening on your profile and what your latest tweets are, as well as what your pinned tweet is. So I highly recommend kind of changing this once a month. My opinion is what I'm experimenting with at the moment, and it seems to be working pretty well. I'm about to hit 70K. So by the time this video comes out, I'll probably hit 70K followers. Not bad considering I started taking this seriously April 2021, which is just over a year ago. Now let's move on to frequency. How often should you post? I think ideally you should try and post 4 times per day to get maximum effect. And what I mean by that is you get to cover all time zones. But if you can only do 1 per day, that's okay too. It's really important if you can cover multiple time zones. So I see people retweeting their previous tweets from say a week ago, but in a different time zone. So they can schedule that, and we're going to get onto that in a moment. But if you do 4 times a day, then you're doing new content every 6 hours, and it will cover most time zones, at least with 1 tweet, if not more. I think the most important takeaway here is to be consistent. So whatever you choose, definitely be consistent. You want to feed the algorithm, but you don't want to feed the trolls. And I also have a section on trolls coming up too. You're probably thinking, how can I come up with 4 different tweets per day? Well, if you split them into categories, then it's pretty straightforward, because you could share a tip once a day. I'm sure you've learned something new. The other categories that I use, for example, is behind the scenes. Like, where am I working today? Maybe what are some of my challenges? I'm a digital nomad, so I do have my laptop in lots of different locations, and that is able to give me at least 1 good tweet a day of a laptop, maybe with me or without me. But people do like that. It seems really authentic. Also, community shout outs. Another topic that I like to do is community shout outs. Did someone help you? Give them a shout out. They'll really appreciate it. And it's great to give positive feedback to people. Also, if you want to share something motivational, if you were speaking to a friend and a friend was having a bad day, what would you say to them? Maybe share something along the lines of that. And also try to put a technical or whatever niche you're in spin on it. I think that's really important. So one of the tweets I did recently is coding is tough, but you're tougher. So I was able to bring the motivational and the tech together. So whatever niche you're in, I'm sure you can do the same as well. But now you see it becomes easier because we've already spoken about 3 or 4 topics. There are so many others that you could do. And again, be consistent. And I'm sure you could do a few per day. And you can make it even easier for yourself with different types of formats. So let's go into the next section, which is types of formats. Text is great. Don't underestimate the power of a 1-line tweet, but also don't underestimate the power of a 10-thread post. I think that's really important too. Yes, a lot more effort goes into it, but people also appreciate that effort. But you could add an image to make your tweet stand out, but don't do this all the time. You want to find a balance. You could also add a funny animated GIF that you find in Twitter, like in Giphy or any of those. You could do that. Make sure it isn't offensive and it isn't offensive to anyone, but you could do something like that. What about creating a short video clip? Or you could do an audiogram. That is also quite useful. Maybe if you don't want to be on the camera, then you could record an audio and animate it. That could be also really good as well. Just people like different types of forms of content. So that way you get to appeal to multiple people, but also sometimes you can't watch a video. If you're in a quiet place, you can't press play on the video. So you want to kind of mix it up. And you could also even reuse some of the content. Look back at a month or 2, see what content did well, and then just change the format of it. If you had it as a video, maybe do it as text. If you had it as a text, maybe do it as a video. You see where I'm going with this. Hashtags. It is highly recommended not to use hashtags once you start getting traction. I think people use it at the beginning to try and get a bit more discovery, but I don't recommend using this. Maybe in a reply to your tweet, but I think you'll realize that adding hashtags doesn't actually help and has a negative effect on it. Don't forget to tag people that you're shouting out. That's another great way to get noticed and give credit to other people. But don't spam people just trying to increase your engagement. They're going to probably report it as spam, and after a while, the algorithm's not going to show your tweets to too many people. So, if you're referring to someone, tag them. But if you're like, hey, here's a blog post I wrote, and tagging 10 people to try and get engagement, that is not recommended. That is really bad practice. Okay, let's talk about engagement. You need to engage with other users. This is so important, even when you're small, medium, and a big content creator on Twitter. It's so often neglected, yet it's the best way for people to discover your profile. Stop wasting time and effort spamming your tweet links and your Twitter profile in DMs, in Discord, and so forth. Spend that time replying and engaging with other people on Twitter. They'll naturally look at your profile and see what you're up to. And if you take on board the tips that I shared above, then your profile is going to look awesome and they're going to follow you. And they might not follow you on the first time they visit your profile. They might follow you on the second or third time. Right? It takes a bit of time to build up trust. It doesn't happen overnight, or in this case, in one single tweet. So read other people's posts, like it and reply, but don't just write one word replies like great. I mean, that's nice, don't get me wrong, I do like getting those, but if you can add value, write a meaningful reply. You can also disagree with someone if you want, but make sure you disagree with them in a friendly and professional way. It is a social platform after all, so be social. When you get replies to your content, and you will, you should reply back. Otherwise, people will not leave a reply in the future. Notifications will start off slow and then eventually they will grow. You will wish at the beginning that you had more notifications, and when you get bigger, you'll wish you didn't have so many. Not because you don't want the engagement, but it can be a constant Twitter notifications non-stop. Let's talk about trolls. As you grow and succeed, which you will, it has its ups and downs. The bigger your account gets, the more trolls you will get. Just ignore these people. Focus on the people who like your content. Like I said, they might disagree with you, but keep it professional. But that's adding value to your content and you can learn from that. So get familiar with the block button. If someone's trolling you, just hit the block button. Don't engage, don't waste time and energy on that. Now on to notifications. At the beginning, like I said, you'll want more notifications, and as you grow, you will want to be able to control this a bit better. So there's different things that you can do. I spend hours per day going through my Twitter notifications, literally hours, every morning and every evening, and it's worth it. I really enjoy doing it. But you can filter out notifications. For example, I've recently filtered out my notifications for only people that follow me. So if someone doesn't follow me, then I don't see the notification, which I'm kind of sad about because I want to engage with them. So then in the future, they might follow me. But unfortunately, I just had too many. I was spending maybe 6-8 hours per day. It just wasn't sustainable. And it was neglecting my other content and my community members. So now I only get notifications from people who follow me. But there are other things you can do, which I've seen other content creators do, where you can filter notifications for people that you follow. And so, that has its positives and negatives. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I haven't done that yet, and it's something I'm hoping I don't have to do, but as I grow, I probably will. But I really want to engage with the community. But I recommend not filtering out any notifications until it becomes consistently unmanageable, and then it's important to do it. So what tools are out there to help you? I use FeedHive. It's an amazing tool and really took my Twitter account to the next level. It helped me get more organized. From scheduling, from labeling tweets. So when I get paid tweets, I can then find the stats for those really, really easily, which is super important because the client wants that. There are so many amazing features. I can post some content to LinkedIn, to Twitter, to Instagram, so many amazing things. Some I might duplicate on all platforms and some I might not, but I have the option. Just with the click of a button, I can select which platform it goes to. I can create threads really easily. Drafts are amazing. As I get an idea, I can just create a draft on my phone or on the computer, and later on when I need content, if I'm a bit short, then I can go to my drafts and see what I've got there. Super useful. There's so many other benefits. I cannot recommend it enough. Social Blade is another great platform where you're able to see how your account is doing. It gives you statistics. So FeedHive gives you statistics, but Social Blade gives you predictions, which I quite like. It shows you how you're going. Are you increasing your growth? Are you decreasing it? So for example, Social Blade predicts that by the end of this year, 2022, I will hit 100,000 followers on Twitter. Let's see if it happens. Let's see how accurate it is. Fingers crossed. My Twitter link is below. Go follow me on there if you haven't already. Twitter Spaces. Just like Instagram Reels that help people really explode, Twitter Spaces are doing that for people on Twitter. It's really important to get involved in this. You can grow from one Twitter Space by 1,000 followers. Really straightforward. And you've got to get involved. So let me explain. Listing on a Twitter Space is great, but speaking on a stage is even better. And you could take a screenshot of the Twitter Space and tag the speakers and say amazing space, and you'll get some likes for sure. But if you're listening to the Twitter Space and you take that screenshot and make notes and share the tips that have been shared in that Twitter Space, then when you tag the people who are on stage in Twitter Space, they are not only going to like it, but they're going to reshare, retweet it. So now people can become aware of your profile and they'll see you add value, right? It's all about adding value to your audience as well as other people audience. Because when the people on stage say, oh, those tips, I did mention those, I want to share those with my audience, they're going to retweet your tweet. So it really helps you grow. And the more confident you get, you can be on stage more, maybe as a guest for the whole time on Twitter Space rather than going up to ask a question for say 5-10 minutes. And then you can go even further and host your own Twitter Spaces. And I highly recommend inviting guests so you can grow even faster. If you've got, say, 1,000 followers, don't try and invite guests with 50 or 100,000 followers because it's unlikely that they're going to do that. Sounds selfish, right? But time is important for everybody. And you're going to learn that as time gets shorter and shorter for you as you get, more notifications, more invites and so forth. So I highly recommend, yes, aim high, but don't aim too high. And a lot of the big content creators, we love to support people as much as we can. So I've been invited to Twitter Spaces where I can't actually join because I'm on a call or something like that. I've got something else going on at the same time. But I want to support that person because they always support my tweets. So what I do is I might join not on stage or in the audience, however the person hosting the space wants, and my phone is on silent. So I'm not engaging in the Twitter space, but at least everyone in my audience is aware that I'm listening to that Twitter space and they can go discover and find that Twitter space as well. Right, it's a great way that we could all support each other. It's a two-way street. Let me know in the comments below what tips you have for supporting each other because you're all amazing, you're all here, you're all supporting me. I want to support you too. Making money on Twitter. You probably wouldn't mind making a bit of money from Twitter. And I've seen people make, $1,000 per tweet. And you can only add so much in a tweet. So that's like, per character, that's really good. You need to niche down as much as possible. Companies are paying for tweets. They don't want to see a timeline of an account that's all over the place, has many followers, but no engagement. So you need to make sure your engagement is high and you need to focus on a niche, right? You don't want to be talking about tech and suddenly talking about politics and talking about, racing cars, knitting, whatever it is. You've got to keep it niche. And that might not be what you want to do, but then you're not going to get companies sponsoring you to do paid tweets. So I think it's really important to see where you want to go. And you can always pivot and change later, see what other people are doing, ask questions, chat to other people in your same kind of bracket range, right? If you've got 30,000 followers, maybe speak to someone who's got 20 to 40 or 20 to 50 and get an idea on what's working for them, what's not working for them. I think that's really important. So to conclude, have a clean profile, keep improving it. Make sure that your message is super clear and people can understand what value they're going to get from your profile. Be consistent. And I really recommend trying to tweet 2 to 4 times per day, but space them out throughout the day, but be consistent. Share different types of content, different types of format, different types of topics on your niche still, and be authentic. Remember, use photos and videos. They work really well in addition to text. Try and mix it up and try to reply to as many people as possible, not just your friends. You want to grow relationships with other people. Don't waste times on trolls, not 1 second. And Twitter Spaces are freaking awesome. Make sure you put yourself out there. Don't be scared. We're here to support. Twitter Spaces are a safe place for you to practice your public speaking and grow your following. Any questions, any thoughts, any tips, leave them below. I look forward to chatting with you. I do reply to every comment on my YouTube video. And I look forward to seeing you in the Eddie Hub Discord, where we talk about open source, getting into tech, accelerating your career, and creating content. Link in the description below.